Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Christina from Our Wood Home. I'm sorry I haven't been able to post any videos in the last little while. I've actually been recovering from a terrible sickness that's been going around and I just haven't been able to shake it. I'm feeling mostly better right now and I have a bunch of videos planned for this month, so I hope that you will stick around. This video is another in my vintage advice series where I read some vintage publications offering various homemaking advice. If you're interested in the rest of this series, it will be linked at the end of this video. This is a news bulletin that was broadcast on the radio. It's called Bringing Last Season's Clothes Up to Date, and it reads as follows. A radio talk prepared by Miss Marjorie Eastman, clothing specialist, Agricultural Extension Service, University of Idaho, and delivered by Miss Jean Stewart during the Western Farm and Home Hour, Wednesday, September 7, 1932, through station KGO and 9 other stations associated with the NBC KGO network. Bringing last season's clothing up to date is a popular practice nowadays, for we are all interested in making the most of whatever clothing we have on hand. But successful remodeling is not easy. As a rule, we have to spend considerable time, thought, and energy if we are to make good-looking clothes from last year's wardrobe. The aim in making over is to produce a garment that does not look made over. Study each article carefully and consider all of its possibilities before starting work. The condition of the material is an important factor. It is false economy to spend your time on a garment that does not have enough wear left in it to repay you for your effort. The style of the garment and its relation to present-day styles will also help you to decide what kind and how much remodeling is worthwhile. Each article is, of course, an individual problem, but you will find many present-day styles that are well adapted for use in remodeling. The choice of the right style will do more than anything else to help you get a finished result that looks as though it was intended to be that way, not as though it had to be. Look through your pattern books for designs suited to the size and shape of the pieces you have to work with. For example, if you have to combine 2 different kinds of material, choose a design that is planned for 2 different fabrics. If your fabrics are small, select a style that is cut up in many parts or one that will hide piecing. For example, a gored skirt may be cut from pieces that would be inadequate for flares or pleats. Yoke designs offer much possibilities for piecing. Sometimes piecings can be hidden under belts, tucks, lines of stitching, or rows of buttons. If the article you are making over dates back several seasons, it is likely to be too straight, low-waisted, or short. A dress or coat may be made more fitted by curving in the side seams at the waistline, fitting fullness out of the back of the waist by darts or tucks, or by raising the belt nearer to the normal waistline. Adding length is often a difficult problem if there is no hem allowance to let out. If extra material is available, it may be possible to lengthen a short flare skirt by setting in a yoke. Sometimes a wide belt or jacket will yield enough pieces large enough for this purpose. If the waist of the dress is worn, it may be possible to cut a yoke from the waist, making a skirt to be worn with separate blouses. A dress worn or pulled around the armholes is a common problem. A design which has the top yoke and sleeves of contrasting material often fits in here, for the new yoke replaces the parts which are worn. The worn parts can also be discarded by making a jumper dress or a skirt and a sleeveless bolero jacket to be worn with separate blouses. Or the sleeves may be ripped out of the dress and the armholes carefully faced or bound. In one case, such a dress was completed by using the large cape collar from which to cut flared capes as a substitute for sleeves. The remodeling of a wool suit is likely to be worth our while, for wool stands a great deal of wear, and because of its elasticity, it can be freshened more satisfactorily than some other fabrics. Possibly the jacket may be shortened or made more fitting at the waistline. A change to a bolero jacket is another possibility. A two-piece skirt may be wide enough to cut a gored skirt for a slender person. Suits are sometimes made over into a very attractive tailored dress. No matter what the problem, your first step is to select a design that will not give you away. Having chosen your pattern, you are ready to start making the garment. If you are wise, you will take extra care in its construction. Careless work arising from the indifferent attitude that it's only a makeover is bound to result in a finished garment that is only a makeover. Good workmanship is essential if you are to achieve a trim, ready-made look. First of all, the material should be in its best possible condition before you begin work. It should be ripped or cut apart, cleaned and pressed. If worn places must be used, darn and process them carefully. Make piecing along a straight thread of the material. Press each seam and finish as soon as it is completed, and press the entire garment when it is finished. It may pay you to send a coat or suit to a tailor for the final pressing. There are a few makeovers that could not be made more attractive by a little extra expenditure of time and thought. Remodeling problems, like many others, can best be solved by right planning and careful work. That's the end of this bulletin that was broadcast about making over clothes. Even though most of us tend not to be too concerned with current fashion trends to the point where we can no longer wear our previous garments, I think it's still really interesting to read or to listen to the kind of advice that was given for homemakers such a long time ago. This was broadcast in 1932, and it's just really interesting to hear their suggestions for taking some clothes that are maybe not trendy or just in rough state because they've been worn so much and making them into something that looks brand new. I think this is such good advice even for modern day homemakers. It reminds us not to just throw away something, a garment, for example, that can't be worn in its current state, maybe because it is a little bit threadbare in some areas or some of the seams have come undone. Even if it's something you bought from the store, you might still be able to make some adjustments so that it looks like a new garment. Of course, you do need to have some sewing skills for this, but I hope that this video is still interesting to you, even if you don't sew. I really enjoy doing these types of vintage advice videos. I think they're just so interesting, and it's a fun look at history from a different perspective. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you would like to check out the others in the series, again, it will be linked at the end here. If you enjoyed it, please do feel free to leave a comment, give this video a thumbs up, and I encourage you to subscribe to my channel as well. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.